Good evening, you're watching Estuary TV News. Coming up, the sound of the grease paint, the smell of the crowd. We follow the progress of a new theatre in Beverley, the balloons gone up in Cleethorpes in aid of KDARS for Kids, a charity for kidney conditions, and I'll be talking to Heather and Steve Davis from KDAR for Kids. Welcome to Estuary TV News. I'm Hugh Richards. First of all, over to Erica Barker for the news headlines.
Hello, the headlines today. This week marks 70 years since the food drops to the Dutch at the end of the Second World War from Kermington. A group of 30 residents will travel to Holland for the weekend to twin the towns of Kermington and Te Breg.
It's one of these things that are forgotten. Like a lot of things, I've forgotten what happened during the war, and especially right at the end of the war, when it's within about 2 weeks of the end of the war in Germany. Everybody thinks that Lancasters was just sitting on the tarmac and doing absolutely nothing. But obviously what happened, we weren't aware that the Germans are actually starving the Dutch.
And we will have more in Friday's show. North East Lincolnshire Council say they're considering carrying out improvements on Grimsby's iconic Victoria Mills building. It comes after they secured a court order against CPG Investments, the owner of the building, at the end of last year. It required the removal of all loose debris and repairs, which the company failed to carry out. A North Lincolnshire support group which helps children suffering from chronic kidney disease and their families has celebrated its first birthday. KDAR gives financial assistance to families when children are in hospital for long periods. There is currently no existing support group for smaller children. Well, co-founder Heather Davis says it's been
very little known about kidney disease. In fact, we didn't know about it until our own daughter was born with kidney disease. So we've just wanted to make awareness. And it has been difficult, but we're getting there.
With the refurbishment of the pier in Cleethorpes in full swing, new owners of the iconic landmark are now recruiting staff to work at the venue with up to 50 new jobs available. As prom season approaches, people are being warned to check stretch limos and novelty vehicles are correctly licensed when hired. The warning comes from East Riding of Yorkshire Council. Spot checks will be carried out on vehicles to ensure the correct licences and paperwork are held by the owners. And North East Lincolnshire's very own Ella Henderson, who found stardom on the X Factor, is to play at Grimsby Auditorium. She will take to the stage on the 10th of November. If you have any stories, you can contact us on 01472 315561 or send us an email on news@estuary.tv. We are also on Facebook and Twitter at Estuary TV. Until next time, goodbye.
As we saw in the news, a North East Lincolnshire group that supports children with chronic kidney disease has been flying high to raise money, as over 100 people released balloons over Cleethorpes. Founders of KDARS for Kids, Heather and Steve Davis, will be telling me a little more about it a little later. But first, our reporter Erica Barker was at yesterday's event.
KDARS for Kids is a support group started by Heather and Steve Davis, whose little girl has chronic kidney disease. It aims to support children and their families who've been affected. They released over 100 balloons to raise vital funds and to help raise awareness of the disease in youngsters.
There's very little awareness out there. People believe that chronic kidney disease it comes with a cure. They think that kidney transplant's a cure. It isn't a cure. There is no cure for CKD. And this is a perception we need to change.
It's a very silent disease that isn't really heard of. And especially in children. There's no support group or anything out there for children. There's the British Kidney Patients Association and the National Kidney Federation. But they more or less concentrate on the adults and the teenagers, which is why we started the support group, because our daughter had been an influence.
It was really fun and we really liked it. I enjoyed letting go of the balloons.
I thought it was great. Everyone coming together like a community, like a family, like a KDAR family.
With over 300 followers on Facebook and their very own mascot, they're hoping to increase the number of families they can help.
You're watching Estuary TV News. A little later, Erica will be back to explain some of the issues in the local election campaigns, and Dan Kemp will bring you all the sports news. We've just seen something of the work of Cadars for Kids, helping to support sufferers of kidney conditions, children suffering from kidney conditions. Heather and Steve Davis from Cadar join me now. Thank you both very much for coming in. I refuse to continue this conversation before I've had an explanation, Steve, of your remarkable costume.
It's something I've been drawing from when I was a young child, and I drew it on my son's wall, and my daughter decided would make a good mascot for our organisation.
For the work you're doing.
Yes.
It's a dog, a coyote, a wolf?
I leave it up to people's imaginations. They can decide.
I think
whatever it is.
You give them quite a lot of scope, but it's a magnificent costume. Where does the actual, I mean, you did the design, where does the actual costume come from?
We got the costume made from a friend on Freeman Street Market called Woody's.
Right.
And he kindly donated it to us.
Well, that's very good of him. It's quite distracting, but we'll proceed. It's always good to have a dog wandering around the room. I feel like Andrew Neil. Heather, why did you found this organisation? Why did you found this charity?
This charity was founded purely because there was lack of support for children and their families who have chronic kidney disease and renal issues. We felt that it was time to change and certainly do something on the south bank of the Humber.
And you'd organised something through, there's a National Kidney support group, isn't there?
There's National Kidney Federation, there's also the British Kidney Patients Association. Both are quite wonderful, but do very little for children.
Well, that's strange, isn't it? Because, I mean, your own connection with kidney disease comes about through your own daughter's condition.
That's correct, yes.
Just tell me a little bit about Lily.
Lily is now 8. She suffered with acute renal injury, second to antepartum hemorrhage during her birth.
So that was, she was bleeding before she was born?
Yes, absolutely. And as time went on, we found there to be very little support, very little information was given us. Actually, in the early days, nothing was given to us. It was only a couple of years ago, that we actually found National Kidney Federation and the British Kidney Patients Association. Before that, we had nothing at all.
And Steve, your organisation's been going a year now.
Yes, it has.
And how many people have you got involved?
At present, we've got 369 members in our group on Facebook, and they're worldwide.
Worldwide? I mean, it's beyond South Humberside.
Yes, we've got members in America, Italy, Serbia, South Africa, Australia, and I think from the Philippines as well.
Well, that's fantastic, and it's wonderful that people all over the world looking to you to get a bit of support in helping their children. You raise money, Heather.
We do.
And what do you do with it once you've raised it?
What we do is we donate to families that need it in immediate circumstances. And we was able to donate some money this morning to another family. She was in quite dire straits, so we put the money directly into the family's accounts for when they need it most.
Now, there is a cost associated with looking after the treatment of and the care of children with kidney conditions. What are the costs? Why is it so expensive?
It's expensive. The hospital stays, the transport to and from hospital, food to keep you going while you're at hospital with your little one, and drinks and just basic essentials that get us by day. Even just a magazine to sit and read while your little one's strapped to a bed or whatever. It's horrendous. So we wanted to do something that helped them families.
And was yesterday a success, Steve?
Yes, it was a great success.
It raised awareness, which is one thing that people can know who to get in touch with you. Don't go away. We'll talk about some of your other events coming up in a moment. The theatre-going public of Beverley were treated to a new opening act 4 months ago when the East Riding Theatre first opened its doors and lit up its stage. Now, with John Godber's play Shafted running at the theatre, Dave Nunn has been back to see how the drama unfolds.
4 months ago, East Riding Theatre pulled back the curtains and threw open the doors for the first time. With the arrival of the John Godber play Shafted, things seem to be going well.
We think we've been really successful. We've exceeded our expectations. We're performing to virtually full houses almost every production, every night. We're getting some fantastic feedback, some good reviews. Everybody is full of praise and warm comments that people are coming in with, and just everything's going really well.
Getting big names is key to success for the theatre, and the support of John Godber has raised its profile.
Oh yeah, definitely. And John Godber is one of our ambassadors. So we've had an association with John since well before we opened. But he came to see a couple of things. He came to see the opening night when Barry Rutter was here, and he came to see A Christmas Carol. And he spoke very warmly of the theatre. He loved it. He likens it to the old Hull Truck in the early days. It's got that really warm, intimate atmosphere. And you know, that's why John Godber and Jane Thornton are here, because they really love the space.
The arrival of big names and high quality performers go down well with theatre goers in Beverley.
Very positive, very positive. I think people have, certainly people in Beverley, there is a theatre going population in Beverley that like theatre. They travel for it. They do go to productions, have been going to productions here before, you know, when they've been able to. And I think everybody is of the opinion that Beverley needs a theatre, and that's why we're here. And now that we've got one, you know, people are coming in and they're saying, well done, this is fantastic, it's just what we needed, you know. And I think it was particularly the warmth and the sincerity of those comments that we're receiving that's particularly pleasing, because you know that people are really pleased that we're here.
Steve and Heather Davis are still with me from KDARS, the charity that helps children with kidney conditions. Steve, I'm very glad to see you undisguised, as it were. We've talked about the fact that you gather money to help people out because it's expensive to look after children with kidney conditions. But this fella is promoting just the idea of keeping cheerful.
Yeah, he's just to take the children's mind off what they've got, something bright and cheerful, like you said, to cheer them up.
And so is he going to be visiting schools, hospitals?
Yes, he's going to be doing his rounds. He's going to be going to hospitals and schools and other organisations.
Brilliant. Okay, well, if that doesn't cheer them up, nothing will, I suppose, will they? Heather, you've got some other events coming up to try to raise awareness and raise maybe a little bit of money.
Absolutely. We've after yesterday's balloon release, we certainly talked about having something sooner than June, which is going to be the next event. We're looking at doing an adult curry night,
right, and
raising some funds that way. We've had some volunteers that are going to come in and cook for us, which is very nice.
Absolutely lovely. Yep.
It is absolutely lovely. So, and then in September we're having a children's fancy dress ball.
Right.
This is going to be open to anybody in the community. Up to 400 people can attend. That's the room I've got. So,
where and when precisely will that be?
That will be at the Casablanca Club in Oxford Street in Grimsby.
That's the 5th of September?
That's correct. It's 5th of September, and the time is, if I'm correct, 3:30 till 8:30. And
there is a severe penalty for any adults who turn up without fancy dress?
Yes, absolutely. If adults come not in fancy dress, and there's a £2 fine on the door, but they are free otherwise.
Okay.
And children come as £3 each.
Absolutely splendid. Kidney disease, how common is it in children, Steve?
It's more common than you realise, but it's not really ever heard of, because people don't realise they've actually got it. It's one thing that's what we're trying to make awareness of, so they go to their doctors and get themselves checked out properly.
So there could be harm done. I mean, with your daughter, of course, the harm was done before she was born. There's nothing really to be solved there, is there? But the harm's done before there are symptoms showing, I guess. Is that the...
Absolutely, absolutely. They have no symptoms. You know, you don't know you've got it because there are no symptoms that come with chronic kidney disease. Many of our children were born, you know, and they didn't know they had issues initially. And that's something we're trying to raise awareness of, the fact that, you know, it can happen to anybody of any age.
And what happens? I mean, what are the signs and symptoms if something's? When do you start rushing off to the GP and ask them to have a look?
We're not medical experts.
Well,
however, we are parents that are travelling this journey, and what we say is look out for changes to your body, swelling hands and feet, retention of water.
Right.
And you know, if you're concerned at all, then just go to the doctors and get some medical advice.
You were speculating about the idea of maybe organising holidays for parents with with kidney sufferers?
Absolutely, because with kidney disease, it's not easy for children who are on dialysis to just get up and go on holiday. So what we want to do is either raise enough money for a caravan or a static home of some description, so families can come and enjoy it at least a cost to them as possible. You know, ideally we'd like to give it to them for free, because we ourselves know how hard it is to have a holiday.
And Steve, you don't like to describing children as kidney patients?
No, we more affectionately call them kidney beans.
Right, and the people who look after them?
And the parents or their carers are known as runner beans.
Excellent. Okay, people can contact you. You've got a Facebook address, you're building a website, and people can contact you through that.
Absolutely.
Thank you both very much.
Thank you.
Our weekly linguistic adventure continues as we explore what you say.
Bubbed. B-U-B-B-E-D.
Gosh. You've got the wrong person, I haven't got a clue. Shall have to bring my dictionary.
Bubbed. B-U-B-B-E-D.
Well, I don't know what it means, but I don't want to say what I think it means.
Gonna get run over here.
Darling.
We're going to get pushed run over by the truck.
Over here. B-U-B-B-E-D.
Bugged. Bugged.
Bubbed.
Bugged. Bugs.
Never heard of that neither.
Gathered bird eggs.
Right.
Erica joins me now for Chamber to report on local government and local politics. Erica, the general election, of course, dominates everything, but we have been having a little local politics going on.
Yes, we have. A first story I have from Grimsby Telegraph. Police have released CCTV images in a bid to catch those responsible for damaging electoral signs. So this happened in Brocklesby Road and Hayborough on Wednesday, April the 16th, so just gone. And they would like to speak to people connected. Not good, is it?
No, it's a great long tradition of British electoral campaigning, though, is to go and vandalise each other's signs, and usually extremely rudely. It's been going on since at least the 18th century.
Has it really? I never knew this.
Absolutely, from the earliest hustings. And quite recently, I think those were Conservative Party signs that were vandalised, weren't
Yes, they were.
I think a few weeks ago, there were UKIP Party signs where a rather regrettable little black moustache was painted onto the face of Nigel Farage.
Yes, I do remember that, actually.
It's a little bit unfair, isn't it?
It is, it is. Everyone obviously getting in the spirit of things.
Absolutely.
I'm going to move on then to a serious one. Councillors agreed to bring skivers to book, but turned down proposed pay cuts. So this is North East Lincolnshire Council. Council leader Chris Shaw held a meeting. Now, UKIP's Matt Stinson had said that they should decrease the allowances by 1.98%. The same amount as a council tax was increased earlier this year. They don't want to do that. But they have agreed, I don't blame them, but they have agreed in a meeting that they will all have to attend 100% of meetings. So they can't get away with not attending meetings, but they will not get a cut in their allowances.
So all councillors have to turn up, and they're fined if they miss a council meeting?
It doesn't say anything about fines, but I think it's a necessity that they'll have to, and maybe they'll cross that bridge when it comes, possibly.
Okay, cracking the whip there in North East Lincolnshire Council.
Very true, very true. I'm going to move on then to a next one. Plans to reinvent Grimsby's fishing industry after the nation was betrayed. Now, this is what UKIP is saying about Grimsby. Now, they've been meeting and they've slammed, saying that the EU Common Fisheries Policy is nonsensical. Now, what they've done is they've outlined their policies. They want to include a 12-mile limit for UK fishermen only and a 200-mile economic exclusion zone. So I think UKIP with Grimsby are going down that route to bring the fishing industry back.
A 200-mile zone, that would mean that Grimsby fishermen would have the right to fish in large amounts of the Pays de Calais, Normandy and Brittany, I suspect, doesn't it?
Yes.
which would be unfortunate sorts of seamanship. Is UKIP having a little bit of a nostalgia thing here? Is it really the European Union that's destroyed the Grimsby fishing industry, or was it an absence of cod and a fight with Iceland?
Well, that's a discussion, isn't it? That's a discussion. But that is the route they're going down with strongly. I mean, whether if they were to come in, they could stick to what they say is another thing, but that's certainly...
The Green Party's been active in Hull.
Yes, the Green Party has. They want Hull to be more green.
Surprise, surprise.
Surprise, surprise.
I think the story really is there that just the dictates of electoral campaign mean that the poor candidate has to travel by car and he can't use his bicycle.
I know, yeah, he was. He has been in Hull and he was in his car and he wasn't on a bike.
Erica, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Here is Dan Kemp with all the sports news.
Hull City's survival chances were dealt a huge boost on Tuesday night. The Tigers beat Liverpool 1-0 to move 4 points clear of the Premier League bottom three, with just 4 games remaining. Centre-half Michael Dawson headed home the only goal during the first half to secure 3 points. Next up, they host Arsenal at the KC on Bank Holiday Monday. Christian Jolly will miss the first leg of Grimsby Town's playoff campaign. It was hoped the Town winger would recover from a hamstring injury in time to face the Spitfires in a game, but Paul Hurst has suggested he could be involved for the return leg on Sunday. Scottish defender Gregor Robertson is the only other player to be missing for the tie. Scunthorpe United will play the FA Cup winners from just 2 years ago. Wigan Athletic won the competition back in 2013, but have now been relegated from the Championship following Rotherham United's win against Reading last night. Competitors from Cleethorpes Athletics Club have taken on one of the most famous challenges in world athletics. Alongside Paula Radcliffe and the rest of the runners was Tony Hooper, who registered an impressive 3 hours and 9, and Nick Foreman, who ran 3 hours 20. Congratulations to everyone who took part. And finally, back to football and the Northern Counties East League. Cleethorpes Town lost 3-1 at Shaw Lane Aquaforce on Tuesday evening, whilst in Division 1 Grimsby Borough drew 3-3 at Teversall. Looking back on Saturday, Louth Town lost 3-0 at Penistone, whilst Winterton Rangers went down 1-0 at Clipston. Get in touch if you've got any stories you want to share with us. You can call us on 01472 315553, email sport@estuary.tv or search for us on Facebook or Twitter. And that's all for the sport.
That's it for today, I'm afraid. If you want to get in touch with us or you have a story for us, Facebook and Twitter details on the screen. Email news@estuary.tv, Grimsby 3155553. Until tomorrow, good evening.
Estuary TV's weather, sponsored by Hornsby's, celebrating 100 years in buses.
Hello and welcome to Estuary TV's weather. Rather cloudy on Thursday with a few further showers during the morning. However, these showers should become fewer and further between later, leaving a drier and brighter afternoon with some sunny spells and a maximum temperature of 12 degrees Celsius. Friday mainly fine during this period with some sunshine, although temperatures will remain on the cool side.
Estuary TV's weather, sponsored by Hornsby's, celebrating 100 years in buses.